Good evening. I'm Tad Goodwin. This is Greg Crawford, and this is the Friday News Dump for May 31st, 2013. We're broadcasting to you tonight from beautiful Stockbridge, Vermont and the Green Mountains. We had a beautiful day today, a little bit hot. We've been having a heck of a time with our teleprompter. We just had to shoot the rant 3 times to get it right, but this is going to be a really good show. We got Deborah Goodwin behind the camera, my lovely wife, and we got the dogs locked in the bedroom, so they won't annoy us right at the moment.
I'll try not to bark.
Thanks for joining us. The name Newsdump comes from, and why we have it at Friday night at 6 o'clock, is to try to catch news that the authorities might be trying to slip through the radar, even if those authorities might be corporations or governments. Oftentimes, they'll release them at 5 or 6 o'clock on Friday night, just so that they don't get that much of attention. And then by Monday, the news cycle has turned and we're on to the next thing. So please join us each Friday night because we're going to have a great time with this. Now, U.S. stocks sold off in late trading today to close sharply lower. The S&P 500 posted consecutive weekly losses for the first time since November as investors retreated after a 7th-month run of gains.
Traders attributed some of the selling to global index rebalancing and reallocation of investments to bonds from stocks, but a desire to protect profits also contributed to the exodus late in the session.
The S&P 500 ended May up 2.1%, its 7th straight month of gains and its longest streak of monthly gains since 2009. The benchmark S&P 500 index is up 14.3% in 2013.
Consumer spending in the United States unexpectedly declined in April for the first time in almost a year as income stagnated.
Treasury 10-year yields rose, touching the biggest monthly gain since December 2010. As an increase in consumer confidence bolstered speculation, the Federal Reserve may trim its bond buying program with the economy strengthening.
4 Houston firefighters died while responding to a massive 5-alarm fire at a motel. The local medical examiner's office says 3 of the victims died at the scene, while the 4th died at a hospital. 5 others were injured and are hospitalized for chest pains or leg injuries.
Deborah, speak up. What were you going to say?
I was going to ask, how come the bonds are going up and the stock market is going up? Isn't it supposed to be the opposite?
You're applying logic to something that is totally illogical in every conceivable regard.
You're pointing out that the robust stock market that we've been seeing the past several months is a total inflated fiction, right? It's not really, the fundamentals are not there for this great stock market that we've been seeing.
No, it doesn't look like it. The only thing that matters is the money that the QE.
So it's the emperor's new clothes on steroids.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, it's kind of tricky what you were asking about. Shouldn't bond prices go down as stock prices go up? And really, sometimes you can, I don't know how to do it, but I know some experts can time the turn in the market by that very action, yields versus stock prices. But
if you could do it, we'd be rich.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Or wearing barrels on the side of the road.
Yeah, that too.
More than 100 firefighters battled the blaze in sweltering temperatures. This is the fire we were just talking about. The fire broke out just after noon at a restaurant and club at the Southwest Inn on US 59, one of Houston's most heavily traveled expressways.
I've been on that road. It's pure hell.
Why is it so hellish?
Because it's like 10 lanes wide, and
really?
everybody's driving like crazy people with shotguns in their
and there's no place to cross the street.
And you can't get around. It's terrible. Houston is just a, hot, seething mass of freeways.
Well, then it is Texas. So
yeah, right.
I think it's the 8th or 9th ring. Hell, I'm not sure which.
Flames spread to the motel part of the building and were still shooting from the roof of the structure more than an hour later.
3 feet of snow fell Sunday at Whiteface Mountain in the state of New York.
That's wild. We had a frost the other night.
They also
I
had
was up at our local ski mountain, or driving by
Oh,
it,
yeah.
and
Pico
the
and
top of
Killington had
Pico
snow.
fresh powder.
Who was telling me that Killington opened for a little while?
They had free skiing last weekend because they had one run still open.
Yeah, if
and
you brought
they
your
got
rock skis, right.
Yeah.
Authorities say 17 people have died in Venezuela from an H1N1 flu outbreak. A further 250 people have been infected.
France on Tuesday reported its first death from the Middle East respiratory syndrome coronavirus. Saudi Arabia announced 5 new cases.
What's coronavirus?
Coronavirus is a very, very nasty version of the common cold, essentially, I guess.
I'm reading this book right now, and they talk about sweating sickness back in the Henry VIII time, and there was like a period of 40 years where they'd have these outbreaks of sweating sickness, it was what it's called, and they think it was a form of hantavirus.
Wow.
Anyway,
Well, very likely, because they had rats and mice everywhere.
Yeah,
I mean, they
but
slept
but
with
it happened
rats.
like a few years in a row, and then it disappeared. This was in London, and
Well, London was a cesspool
Well,
anyway.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
they had lousy water. And I mean, Queen Elizabeth I bragged that she'd only had one bath in her entire life.
yeah, I know.
So I mean,
They were pretty
that's
disgusting back then,
that's
but-
royalty, and the rest of them like, ooh, I can't imagine what it was like there. Like
But it seems like
body
it was like
odor
some
you
kind
could
of,
cut with a knife. Damn.
It seems like it was some kind of like virus that expressed itself and then recessed. Who knows? Maybe the
Well, they all do that to
coronavirus's sweating sickness come back.
Well, the coronavirus has got some potential to be exceedingly unpleasant.
Yeah.
A little background on it. It's being compared to SARS, which is severe acute respiratory syndrome. And it's in the same viral family that triggered an outbreak of SARS that swept the world in late 2003 and killed 775 people. So this is one of the things that the health officials are really concerned about, because we're having fewer and fewer tools to be able to fight these things.
Well, because they've overused antibiotics to the point where virtually every major disease is now completely resistant to any
Plus
of the
the diseases
antibiotics.
mutate,
Because they,
too.
even if they weren't using them in hospitals, they've been using them in livestock, so that we ingest
Right, the food
them,
we eat.
secondhand, and the viruses that we used to be able to control are just saying, "Yeah, is that all you got, Jack?" So it's not good. And this coronavirus is apparently most prevalent in very, very hot, dry climates.
That wouldn't be here in Vermont.
No, so we're probably safe.
For now.
Back to our regularly scheduled program.
Dun, 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 dun.
Oh, all right. We've already been there. That's the coronavirus. Why don't we scroll along here a little bit, and it's your turn, my man.
A new study shows that there's no added benefit obtained from a double dose of Tamiflu.
Oh boy.
Isn't that what all the White House was taking after 9/11?
It was
Maybe.
not the ricin, anthrax. That was what
was,
you were supposed to take
to
prevent anthrax.
Wow.
Yeah.
Remember, like right after 9/11 when the anthrax
And it sounds
attack
like
in
it's
the
something that was, not too far removed from the bird masks that they used to wear during the Renaissance
right.
and
In
the
Venice?
plague. They had the plague masks in Venice. They would have these
Yeah.
beaks and
Yeah.
so. Oh boy. So, 7 Philippine police officers were killed on Monday by a new People's Army landmine.
At least 75 people were killed Monday and more than 200 injured in a wave of bombings in Shiite neighborhoods across Baghdad as sectarian violence in Iraq continues to increase.
Yeah, someone I follow on Twitter said, I bet Dick Cheney's having a hard time getting out the door with all that blood at his feet.
Oh man, I'm actually glad that he's alive without heart transplant, so he can stand trial in criminal court
Yeah,
someday
that'll
soon.
be a day.
Look up Fat Chance and you're funkin'
Well,
Wagnalls.
Yeah,
It's not going to
right.
happen.
Tell you what, I want to see it.
But he
That's where it
the
belongs.
psychopath's psychopath. I can remember when he was interviewed by ABC at one point during the second term of the Bush administration, and the interviewer had said, "Well, there's the American people, don't agree with you on that particular subject to a great degree. He says, so?
Yeah, he
I got
also
better
said-
things to do than worry about what the American people think. Quote,
he also said
unquote.
deficits don't matter, but then
Right.
his party has used deficits to, take every program away from the poor people in this country and steal the money for the rich.
What kind of person for entertainment shoots birds
Or his friends.
that are penned up and have their wings clipped?
Yeah.
Yes.
Just for fun.
They release them from a cage 5 feet in front of the gun barrel, and he calls this sport. But
So he's drinking his whiskey, shooting the birds and his friends, as you say, or his enemies, whoever they were. Yeah. So, man.
and then he got the lawyer. The lawyer still
alive.
apologized. The lawyer apologized for having been in the way.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean, I think I
right.
might too, just to hope that I never saw him again. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
man.
Jeez, what a.
But you're talking about the embodiment of evil there. So
Aren't you talking about you could smell the sulfur kind of?
Yeah.
Yeah.
just the very mention of his name.
They don't call him Dick for nothing.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, you ever see those pictures? He's supposedly endowed.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh, he seems like the type that to be a, little one.
Supposedly,
Pencil
either
dick,
that
yeah.
or he has a banana in his pocket.
I think that must be it.
Is that a pistol in
He
your
doesn't-
pocket?
he
Or you're
doesn't
just
act
glad
like
to
that
see me.
anything.
Dick. Okay, let's get serious here for a
Anyway.
moment.
Right.
The European Union Monday lifted its ban against arming Syrian rebels as a full consensus among its 27 member states extend the current embargo could not be reached.
Oh, this is so fucked up in there. It just makes me so upset. Excuse me. I'm not allowed to say fuck on the radio, am I?
This is the radio, and that's
Say
you
whatever you
allowed.
want.
And by the way, to our audience, my lovely wife is a Quaker. She's a pacifist and is against any war of any kind. So you're gonna always
Yeah, but
hear
this whole
from her.
Syria mess is like such a mess.
Oh,
And
yeah.
there's no way there's no good side. It's
Well, we're not.
John
on
Well, the
her
thing
side.
is- the thing is,
goes
if-
over there and takes pictures with the, oh, let's run. He takes pictures with the rebels, and it turns out like one of them's a terrorist.
Why the hell are we backing rebels? Why don't we back a sovereign nation? It's like it's crazy.
But Assad is the sovereign nation, and the man's a monster. There's no two ways around it.
That's what I'm saying. That there's no good side to this.
He's an absolute psychopath, a pathological liar, and not a very nice person.
Well, he's running a Middle East country. Isn't that sort of par?
Yeah, par for the course.
Or running a country. I
But
mean,
it's a really bad situation. Worse than Libya, worse than anything else that's come up, because there is no right way. And Russia's coming in and arming Assad. The European Union says, okay, let's arm the rebels.
But everybody
we say
on the
World War
opposite
III.
side. I mean, Putin is a clown, but he's decisive. And he does what he thinks he wants to do, and everybody else goes, what, do you really think? I don't know. Should we? Oh, do you think it's the right thing? I don't know. I am so sorry. I really wonder. Should we? Too late? Yes, dipshit. It's too late. Now we have all kinds of factions on the other side of the Assad equation, and we don't know who to trust. And it's all because of the fact that everybody was so indecisive, and everybody had their heads up their posteriors for entirely too long, and now they can't even see out their belly buttons.
I'm just waiting for in 3 or 5 years, excuse me, when we say, oh, there's weapons of mass destruction in Syria.
Yeah.
And we have to go in and invade.
I don't think
Why?
they're
Because
going to run that
them
game
their
again.
weapons of mass destruction.
I don't think they'll run that game again. But they've already, he said, our red line is
chemical
the
weapons.
movement of chemical weapons. Just the movement of chemical weapons. Well, it's been proven decisively that chemical weapons were indeed used. But, oh, man, didn't kill that many people. So we're not going to do anything about it.
80,000 people have been
Well,
killed
that's
so
not
far.
that many,
what
according to
I've
the
been
Obama
heard.
administration. That's
Well.
not enough that, 80,000. I mean, so what?
if you look at the news though today, I gotta just throw this in. There's a lot of propaganda, and now any war news is going to be like that. But what we're seeing is a real build-up to either some kind of invasion, because now they're talking about no-fly zones, And there's all this stuff. This is part of why I was a little, I won't say reluctant, but I'm not like covering this as much as we might, because it's really hard to figure out what's really going on.
Right, to get the right perspective on it.
It's really difficult, but it's obviously the government is in propaganda mode, soaking the media with all kinds of pro-war stories, you know.
And the you know, of course, the unspoken in this is Israel.
Oh, that's the elephant in the room,
You know,
baby. That's it.
Baby, the elephant
Oh
in the room,
yeah,
exactly.
it is.
Well,
You know,
I
they're
don't
like,
know.
oh, Hezbollah is arming the.
And God
you know,
forbid that anyone should ever offer any criticism of Israeli
Israel.
foreign policy,
Oh.
because that's
Oi.
anti-Semitism.
That's
don't
right.
forget.
Oi, can't do that.
Anti-Semitism.
Oi,
Oh,
get
my.
vault. You can't be going saying nasty things about Israel, even if they are totally dead wrong. Now,
Apartheid state.
It's
Yeah.
you know, I am not prejudiced. I despise all religions equally. But you got to wonder, what is the difference between an exclusively Jewish state and an exclusively Aryan state? What
an
is
apartheid
the
And you know what?
difference?
We're not talking about religion here. We're talking about, you know, political governments.
Yeah, but you
know?
can't extricate the two from one another. They're
can.
intertwined the same way as a brain tumor permeates your brain cells. You can't extricate the two of them. That's just what has
Hey,
happened.
and while
here.
we're at it, I was in New York City, a mile from ground zero on 9/11. Israel, I know you were behind it.
Oh, ooh.
I know it. So you know,
I think that might be a good point.
Senator John McCain traveled to Syria Tuesday to meet with rebel fighters and discuss with them possible U.S. involvement in the nation's civil war.
Le Monde reports continued use of chemical weapons by the Assad regime in Syria. Russia evacuated 130 people from Syria on Tuesday as the situation continues to deteriorate.
It's a bummer.
But this has been going on for 2 years now, and all of a sudden we're like, oh, we have to intervene. Oh, you know. Meanwhile,
Well,
80,000 civilians are dead. 80,000. That's one number.
These are not combatants. These are civilians.
I know.
And the vast majority of them have been murdered by the Assad regime. So,
Rest in
what do you
peace.
say?
Amen.
What do you
It's
say?
just war is not the answer.
to anything, really.
Okay. Pakistani intelligence officials say a U.S. drone attack, let's go into something cheery,
Oh, this is cheery.
Wednesday killed 5 alleged foreign militants.
Alleged. Thousands of people across 36 countries rallied on Saturday to protest genetically modified seed producer Monsanto. Go, baby!
All right.
Tear 'em a new one.
Let's take them down. The governor of the Bank of Japan said Sunday that although interest rate increases will cause some stress to Japanese financial institutions, they have, in his words, sufficient resilience against such shocks. By the way, Japan's stock market's really been tanking this last couple weeks.
Is this the Japanese central bank? No. Is there a central bank in Japan?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bank of Japan, BOJ.
Did you say BJ?
BOJ.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
OJ.
Sorry.
Get your mind out of the gutter, girl. Okay, here we go.
Pardon, we're talking about.
Electric
Later,
car company Better Place announced on Sunday that it will file for bankruptcy.
Who? Tesla? Not Tesla.
Not
No,
Tesla.
this is, interestingly, an Israeli electric car company that was a darling of the entrepreneur world. The guy that started it or founded it got more than $1 billion in backing. Billion. Now the thing about this
and
is
pissed every penny of it away.
and here's where it all went. The concept for the car is interchangeable batteries with battery changing stations. So if you go to, like, instead of going to a gas station, you'd pull into and
sure.
swap the battery out. So they got them in parts of Europe, but it was highly, highly expensive, and they just ran out of money.
Well, that was a
Well, it was-
stupid way to do it.
It was piss poor
Did they?
prior planning
Yeah.
because, I mean, the batteries last a good long time, and you might as well just recharge because it's a hell of a lot less work and less
they're
expensive to
expensive.
recharge the battery than it is to
It's not
replace the battery.
propane for your grill. It's the batteries are very expensive.
Well, they say the batteries themselves are more expensive than a sedan over here.
Right.
Like $25,000 or something. So,
Right.
yeah, it wasn't practical. Oh well,
Another one bites the dust.
Another one bites the dust.
Canadian drug maker Valeant Pharmaceuticals says it will purchase Bausch & Lomb. That's Ray-Ban, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For $8.7 billion.
Authorities on Monday shut down digital currency Liberty Reserve and arrested its founder in Costa Rica on money laundering charges.
In Costa Rica.
Yeah, they said there was something
You
like
can run, but you can't hide.
$6.8 billion in. Do we bust the big banks for money laundering?
no.
Oh, no.
Oh, can't do
Heavens
that.
to Betsy.
No.
They're too big to break.
Pat him on the back, get a little payoff, yeah, baby.
Hey, thanks for all your campaign contributions there, Goldman Sachs and the rest
Meanwhile,
of you
Jamie
assholes.
Dimon kept his job.
Yes,
Yeah.
for now.
Yeah, but that's because he's smarter than you.
No, he's not. He had $6
he's-
billion in litigation fees or
He's
something like that.
he's the smartest man in the room. Just ask him.
Right.
I'll
Just
tell you
ask
what,
him.
I see an arrogant man.
Ugh.
But pride, what is it? Pride before the fall?
Pride goeth before a fall.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
indeed.
Well, these
So,
guys, and
okay, good luck with that.
there's a warm spot by the fire for them, I tell you. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Los Angeles says Scott London, former senior partner with KPMG, has agreed to plead guilty on charges involving insider trading. Oh, my.
The Chinese meat processing company Shanhui International on Wednesday announced plans to purchase the world's largest meat processing company, Smithfield Foods, for $4.72 billion. We'll see about that.
If you go into a grocery store and look at the meat case with the processed meats, half of it they make. All these different brands.
Actually,
pork.
a little more than half.
Mostly
Yeah.
pork.
Mostly pork, but
Yeah.
a little more than half.
Yeah, bacon, all that stuff. Funeral Services and Cemetery Company, Service Corporation International, purchased another funeral service company, Stewart Enterprises, for $1.4 billion.
There's
A
good
gas
money in
cylinder
death.
exploded on Saturday in a school bus in Pakistan, killing at least 17 children.
Yeah, that's too bad.
That's terrible.
48 people.
Pakistan is fucked up. Excuse me. Sorry.
Another quarter in the jar.
They got good opium there, don't they?
That's
got a lot of
Afghanistan.
opium. Well,
That's why we're there.
I don't know that there's a firm dividing line between the two places as far as the opium crop is concerned.
Yes, I think you're right. I'm sorry for cursing everyone out there.
No, but it's just been a desolate area throughout all history.
Well, one of the interesting things is that I'm pretty sure that the whole kerfuffle over Afghanistan has nothing to do with opium or stopping Al Qaeda or anything else, but they have some resources under the ground
Oh, yeah.
that everybody wants, and everybody's being very quiet about it because they don't want to alert anyone to the real reason that they've been fighting over this place.
That's the whole reason we're fighting over in Asia. Well, anywhere in the world is resources. That's really what it comes down to. Mm-hmm. That they're resource wars, and they wrap them.
And they're going to get worse as our resources dwindle.
Yeah, but they
Right?
wrap them up in these democracy, or
War
he's a
on
bit,
terror.
or this
A great
person.
steaming pile of the proverbial substance, because all it is the U.S. government being used as a tool of corporate interest to further their unbridled pathological greed. So,
I don't disagree, Greg. This is part of
I
why
totally agree too.
Yeah. 48 people were rescued Saturday from a boat that was taking on water after it collided with a rock off the coast of Pembrokeshire, Wales.
bad rock. 2 freight trains collided in southeast Missouri on Saturday, causing a highway overpass to collapse.
Speaking of rocks, Deborah, by the way, I took your tire to get repaired today that you got a blowout on. He took a rock out from a tire. The rock actually went through the tire, into the tire. I'll tell you later.
That's weird.
It was really weird. It's a big rock. At least one person was killed and 10 people injured Sunday when a party bus, is that a bus where everybody parties? I guess it is.
I am assuming
is.
so.
Collided with a passenger car near Burlingame, California.
A boat carrying 100 passengers capsized on Tuesday in Malaysia. More than 20 of the passengers are still missing.
At least 13 people were killed Wednesday and at least 20 injured in the collision of a bus and a tanker in India.
Australia's ABC News claims that the People's Republic of China hacked plans for the headquarters of the Australia's spy agency, ASIO. That wasn't very nice.
What is with these Chinese hackers? I mean, they're like all over everything. They're hacking the Department of Defense. They're hacking,
Well, they've been doing it all along. Now they're just getting
they're
caught.
just getting caught. Is that what it is?
Well, because everybody's sort of catching
and
up to
we're
them,
probably
you know.
doing it back to them, but we're just not admitted to it. Is that what's going on?
The unfortunate part is that we have not been able to educate our populace with the technology to be able to do that. And anybody that does have the expertise, we arrest and throw in jail or make them commit suicide because it's just, you can't be going around and doing that. So that all the people in the countries like China are able to do it with impunity because there's nobody smart enough to stop them.
Japan Thursday suspended imports of wheat in the United States following the controversial discovery this week of genetically modified wheat on a U.S. farm. That's the end of our first segment tonight. Next, we're going to have Gregory Crawford's Weekly Rant. It's a good one this week, like it always is. And then we'll be right back. See you then.